I bought candy machines. This guy was retiring from the business. He had just lost Pratt & Whitney and United Technologies, so he wanted out. So I came along, and there were 73 5-cent candy machines. Very old equipment. And so I bought it. The machines were located in Hartford, New Britain, Greater Hartford. And I worked at it for, 11 years, 5 years before I was able to hire somebody part-time. I was a young kid, didn't know what the hell I was doing. And there was competition, big national companies and all that. So I was left with the locations that people didn't want. But since I was filling it myself, I could make a living. My wife and I used to sit at the kitchen table, wrapping nickels into $2 rolls for deposit. Back then, the mortgage on the house was $96 a month. I couldn't compete with the canteens and ARA. They wouldn't even talk to me. And I didn't even waste my time knocking on their doors. See, in the vending business, what you did was you paid the company where you had your machine a little commission. For the space.
I get that.
So my overhead was higher than the big companies in terms of cost of product and all that. It was difficult. I never became a major threat. At that time, Gerber Scientific Instrument was growing. And I was fortunate enough to know people there, and I got my vending machines in here too. As they grew, my business was growing. My first big account was Rosso Drug. They used to be located in Hartford and built a new new plant in Newington, off of Fenn Road. And that was my big account. It had cigarettes and candy and soda and food. The thing is, when I got my first account, it included a machine. I had to buy a machine that dispensed food. And my wife was making sandwiches in our kitchen.
Oh my God.
With little kids hanging around. And the state of Connecticut would send an inspector periodically to make sure the health conditions were good. I worked 7 days a week at it. My wife wasn't happy with me at times. Well, back then, my wife didn't work. I mean, she worked in the house. She brought the kids up. And I was out. I was the one that had to provide the food and the shelter and the clothing. Today, wives are working, and it's a different life. It's a different world now. But in the meantime, while all this was going on, I got involved in politics. One day I get a phone call from Abe Glassman. I don't know if you remember him. He was an attorney that lived in South Windsor. He was involved in local politics. He was on the Democratic Town Committee. And it was election season. He called me up and he said, Abe, a couple people decided at the last minute that they didn't want to run. And we need a body. We don't want the Republicans to win by default.
Now, is this for mayor or council position?
This is council position.
Okay,
And I had always been interested in politics. So I said, okay, let me check with Beverly. She said, do what you want. I said, I probably won't win because I didn't know anybody. But at the night of the convention, I got nominated. So I didn't know anybody, but Abe Glassman introduced me around, and they selected me to run for council. So what did I do? Okay, I'm running. I had a business I was doing. It took all my time. So I come home from work, put on a tie and a shirt and sport, and I go knocking on doors. It's the only way, because nobody knew who I was. Let's see, at that time, I think Jim Throw was the mayor. Hatfitz was the mayor. You remember?
Yeah.
So I knock on doors, and the night of election, miracle happened. I won the last seat by 6 votes.
Wow.
Over a guy by the name of Thatcher.
Mm-hmm.
He was the father-in-law of Eddie Kuhn.
Right.
He had been on the town council for
Right.
years and years. I'm on the council now for 6 years, and I'm the mayor. The next time, the seat for state representative opened up, and I, still the mayor, I ran, I lost to Tom Donnelly. He retired after 1 year, after one set. And Warren Westbrook was the Republican, and I ran again, and I won. So I was the state representative for 3 terms, spending all my time with my business. Politics was a part-time thing in South Windsor. Nights, you know. Yeah.
Start at the beginning. Where you were one of the founders
Of that bank, yeah.
South Windsor Bank.
And we hired a guy by the name of Lantini. This was, I think, in the 80s now,
Yeah.
when everybody was opening a bank.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the shit hit the fan.
Yeah.
The economy tanked.
Right.
And all the banks that were local, most of them went out of business.
Yeah.
But we were lucky. We had a good businessman running the bank.
With Lantini.
Lantini.
Name on
Dick
the-
Gregorian, me, Jack Casey, and Bill Young. Not Bill, yeah, Young, were partners in the South Windsor Arena. We bought it
Yeah.
from the guy who owned it originally.
Yeah.
And at that time, Dick was in the insurance business. And the rest, Eddie was, Casey's a lawyer, Bill Young was an accountant, me and my vending. So we didn't have time. Dick Gregorian sort of made it his career to run the operation. Eventually, he bought us all out and ran that operation.
Well, what do you think of him as a guy?
Well, he was a great businessman. There was
No.
no synagogue. A bunch of Jewish families in South Windsor decided to form a congregation. All the temples around us were conservative or Orthodox. We were more liberal. Temple Bethel was a Reformed synagogue, and we used the Congregational Church on the corner of Ellington Road and Sullivan Avenue. Let us use it on Friday nights for our services. We built a portable Torah, a portable container to transport our Torah. Later on, when our membership increased, we built a temple over on Foster Street. Somebody donated, the Maskell family donated the land to us. I had another business that I opened up while I had the vending business. It was a coffee service company.
Okay.
It was called Coffee Time, where we delivered, we would loan people machine, like a bun coffee maker, and we sold products to them. So I had 2 businesses. When I ended up, I sold the coffee business first, and then the following year I sold the vending business. The vending business I sold had sales of $1.5 million when I sold it, and the coffee business was $500,000 when I sold them. I sold my businesses, I told you, around 2000, and I didn't know what to do with myself. I wasn't very happy in retirement, because I was, 2000, I was what, 50s, 50s, early 60s.
Young. Yeah.
I got a job as a deputy sheriff. Yeah, I was a deputy sheriff for 20 years. Yeah, and I was lucky. I did well at it. The town itself was nice. There was a Jewish boy living in a suburban town that had a lot of Lutherans and Catholics and Protestants. Yet I ended up being the mayor.